Hey everybody, hope you had an amazing weekend. Excuse the hat, having a bit of a bad hair day today, but got some more Insta360 1R clips for you today. And in my previous video, I had people complain that I was comparing it to a Hero 4 and I'm ignorant for comparing it to an older camera. You know what? I compared it against a Hero 4 because that is the camera I use. Combined with a GoPro camera grip, I still stand by that being some of the best footage you can get for mountain bike POV footage. But I understand that people want to see this camera compared with, a modern camera, so I actually went out and with my own money bought a GoPro Hero 8. Now this video is actually something that Insta360 probably don't want me to do, but I actually think it's pretty important to do. I'm sure they want me to go out and try this camera in pristine conditions to really get the best footage I possibly can out of this. However, they have sent this camera to me in winter in Scotland. Yeah, waiting for good weather, it's going to be a while. So what I've done instead is take these cameras out in some pretty horrible conditions. I went riding in Peebles with the guys and it was seriously overcast, really dark clouds, and then did actually start to rain really heavily. And then I took it to Cathkin where I tried this. To be fair, I just went quite late in the day and ended up getting a little bit dark, dusky, so I kind of tried them in low light as well. And I actually think the test was worth doing. I got a pretty interesting result. When the 360 lens is combined with the lens protectors, it actually turns out pretty damn well for a certain reason, which I'll explain when I run the clip. So I'm going to show you the clips now, and I actually tried a couple of different positions. I tried the GoPro on a chin mount of a full face helmet, the Insta360 on the top, and then I swapped them over to see which is the better one. I'll put a little note down in the bottom just to let you know exactly which mount and which camera is being used at whatever time. Now it's not a super long video, so this is just some example clips. This is not a review. I'm no camera expert, but if I can make footage like this, so can you. This is a video showing an amateur getting the best footage he can in the worst conditions possible with these two cameras, so let's get on with it. Okay, first up we're in Peebles with the guys. This is the GoPro Hero 8 and I've got this mounted to the chin. It's in super wide mode with Hyper Smooth 1. Hyper Smooth Boost doesn't actually work in super wide, which I didn't know before buying this camera, and it's pretty annoying. It would have been excellent if it did. Now it's not raining at this point, but it is super dark. This is just before it started to rain. And going into these woods, it did make it a really dark, murky day for filming. I recorded this in 2.7K at 50 frames a second, and you know what? The footage has actually come out pretty great.
Where's it going?
Now, I'm not much of a color correction guy. I did film this on GoPro flat, and then I've added a bit of saturation to get the color back in. I'm sure people could do a much better job than I've done, but this gives you an example of what you can get from a GoPro.
Going long on that.
The audio is straight from the GoPro, and I think being on the chin is actually a really good place to get crisper audio. You don't have quite the same wind noise as you do from the top of the helmet. But anyway, that's the end of the run with the GoPro. Let's switch this over to the Insta360.
There we go.
And as you can see, the weather has turned bad. It is very rainy now. And this is where the lens guards actually come in super handy. They actually keep the droplets away from the camera lens and stop them becoming big blurry marks. Now it's not ideal obviously, but if you're out filming and it does become pretty rainy, I think this footage is still usable. Using these lens guards to keep the droplets away and the riding in focus, I think it's actually a huge advantage. With the 1R in 360 mode, you can actually lock off the camera. However, I accidentally locked this off backwards, so I had to tell the camera in editing where to point at every point in this clip. And I think doing that is actually giving it a bit of a robotic look. If you double tap the screen on the actual camera itself, you can tell it which lens to look through. In the next clip, I actually had it locked off pointing forwards, and I think it gives a much better result. I should probably mention this footage is 1080p upscaled to 2.7K. Now despite the dark and wet conditions, the stability is actually still excellent, some of the best stability I've ever seen in a camera. And the colours are almost direct from the camera as well. I've actually turned down the saturation ever so slightly.
Dave is a good cat to follow. He's quick. Yes.
Okay, so let's swap the Insta360 1R to the chin mount. This is at Cathkin. This is much better weather-wise, but it was late in the day, so it's a little bit dark.
All right, stop the cameras around now.
And I think because of the darkness, the frame rate has dropped, and I think some of the stability has gone a little bit as well. It's still stable, but it's not as good as it was before. However, I think this angle is the best angle I've had from either camera so far. Chin mount gets a little bit of the handlebar, gets your front wheel in there. It's just a little bit better in my opinion. And this is audio direct from the camera. Being on the chin, I think, is a much better way to get better audio.
All right, run 2 done.
And here's the GoPro Hero 8 on the top of the helmet. I think it copes with the low light a little bit better. The stability seems to be better at this light level than the Insta360. Although I'm sure the Insta360, if I looked into the settings, I could keep it so the frame rate stay the same.
Definitely left it too late today. The light's going already. It's always a bit scary. Completely blind.
So there we go. Let's go back to the studio. So there you go, everyone. That is some example footage from these 2 cameras. From the 2 short rides I've tried, my favorite angle, I must admit, is the 360 mod on the chin. I think the stability in this thing is insanely good, and also gives a bit of a wider POV so you can see the handlebars a bit better, you can see what's going on. I think that's a really cool angle. The other advantage is when combined with the lens guard, it actually keeps the water droplets away from the lens, keeps them in focus, and actually makes the riding not ideal, but still watchable. So if you're riding in the rain, you've got a waterproof camera, got the lens guard, your footage might be saved. But on the flip side, I think the ease of use of the GoPro has a bit of an edge. Until Insta360 have their plugin for Premiere, which I heard they're gonna do, you still have to go through their app, which is an inconvenience, and it also means you're having to export the footage twice, which can only make the footage worse. So once you can directly edit the footage with the Insta360 One R in Premiere, the GoPro is still going to have a bit of an edge. So I've not chosen one I prefer yet. I'm still going to continue trying them both. There's still way more features with both these cameras I've not yet explored. There's different angles, different positions of the cameras. I want to try on the shoulder, maybe on the side of the helmet, stuff like that. So yeah, way more experimenting to do. I'm really hoping the Scottish weather will behave soon and give us some good conditions so I can actually get the best possible footage out of these cameras as I can. I'd love to go up a Monroe and try some different angles and just generally see which one I prefer. So keep an eye on this channel for further videos in the future, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it gave you some insight to some bad weather footage that these cameras can get. And to Insta360, if you're watching this, sorry the weather's not been great, but I think this is really important to get some footage in conditions people are actually going to use this camera. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You got to see what this camera does in some pretty crappy conditions. Don't forget my usual vlog is on Fridays at 5:30. If you'd like to support the channel, I have my Patreon page for $2 a month. I also have merch at Clarkson.com, and yeah, please subscribe, like, comment. Trying to get to 100k this year, so it'd be really awesome if you guys could help me out with that. Anyway, have an amazing week, and I'll catch you next time, so take care everyone. Bye-bye.